Picture this. You are the manager of a team, and on this team, you're gifted an absolute generational talent. Someone that everyone is agreeing that might be the greatest player to ever touch the game. So what would you do? Would you sell them for a butt ton of money? Kind of like a player similar to them. Or would you maybe set up the best roster possible around them and get all the biggest names? Or would you just surround them with average talent, letting them be the diamond shining in the rough amongst average teammates? This is what we're dealing with right now when it comes to team spirit. Donk specifically is hands down the greatest player in Counter-Strike right now. Someone who is still young, has a ton of potential, and many would agree is going to be the GOAT. From the highs of winning the Shanghai Major and IEM Cologne, he's literally speed ran Counter-Strike. In 18 months, they have won every single major event that anyone could ever dream of. Heck, Nigo could basically be this kid's dad, and bro still can't win a major. Now, Spirit has to face a really dark reality. A series of horrible tournament placings in the past couple months, 2 new players added to the mix, and then just up and down results at best continue to be a problem. A team that once was feared just because they had the almighty Donk on their team is now getting knocked out of Chengdu before even making the bracket. And this is the first time that's happened since Cologne in 24. So how do we get here? And what can Spirit do to get back to the top of the rankings? The answer to that question has sadly been right in front of you the whole time. And if you're a Spirit fan, it's not a pretty one. So at the start of 2025 season, Spirit was on top of the world. Coming off of first place at the Shanghai Major, getting their first victory with Donk, they would continue this trend and get another first place victory in the Blast Bounty Season 1 Finals. They would take down Eternal Fire in 3-1, and it really wasn't that close. We thought it was going to be the year of Donk and Team Spirit. This would be followed up with IEM Katowice, where Donk and crew would fight their way through the bracket to face Vitality in the Grand Finals.
Middle simultaneously, Donk is going to swing into them. He's been spotted, gets the info, falls back, playing this one like it's life and death. Likely feels that way for Spirit. They're on the very verge of elimination defeat at the hands of Vitality, or overtime, a moment's respite. If Zontic's going to hit ahead, he can't! Flames again features in the feed as he feasts, and all they find on Spirit crumble, piece by piece! Vitality, it's theirs for the taking! 5 alive, 5 souls, 1 common goal!
This would end up being pretty significant, because this marks the beginning of a tough streak for Spirit, and then Vitality would go on to a ton of success. They would start this event with a quick 3-0 over Spirit in the win, and at the time it was a shock to the world. But Vitality would continue doing that to everyone else, and then doing the one thing Spirit wanted, and that's win everything. They would go on an absolute tear that honestly created one of the best eras in Counter-Strike. ESL Season 21 and both Blast Lisbon and Rivals would follow this trend, with Spirit falling 3rd to 4th. At all of these events, they would start to struggle against Vitality, Mouse, and others. It almost felt like they were running out of gas, even pulling out of IEM Melbourne before the gauntlet to try to get to the Major. But again, the Major, that's all that matters. If they could bring back-to-back championships, all the mediocre performances and inconsistencies, it wouldn't matter. They would still be the best team in the world if they could win the Major. Spoiler alert, that's not what happened.
Second player tucked in over on Goose, plus Chopper within that smoke, covered off by Magic.
Oh, what a save.
Steps up again.
All the way down to the last bullet there for Magix.
Some sort of an answer back. Still plenty of time for this round to be clawed back. You overstepped. You took a chance, and Mouse now have deep control of middle thanks to Spinks.
He was looking for this lurk before.
The CT side never really had legs to stand on. Mouse have seized the opportunity to shut down. Smoke over towards the B site. Spirit's economy bottomed out. Mouse in Austin is all about resilience. And after a crushing defeat on Mirage, they step up to the...
After a strong performance in the groups, they would drop out in the quarterfinals 2-1 with a loss at the hands of Mouse. At this moment, it was very clear. With Spirit, something needed to change. Following the Major and summer break, Spirit announced some much-needed changes, and that would be that they're benching Magix and bringing in Zwei from Numega. At the time, this seemed like a pretty good change. There was a little bit of questioning around who Zwei was, why they were bringing him in, also why were you benching Magix, because he was a big part of the Shanghai Major win. But at the end of the day, he had been underperforming for the first half of the year and didn't look the greatest. Immediately there would be a honeymoon phase. Zwei would rock out of the gate. They would win IEM Cologne, the one that Donk wanted to win the most. Right after that, they would rip and get a W at Blast Bounty Season 2. But since then, things have been downhill. There was a change that would have to happen due to like weird rumors and drama, and like it can only be described as like an odd series of events. And it was that they left that Zontix is going to be stepping away from the active roster and Tanir would come in and take his place. That whole thing was just really weird. It seemed like a move they tried to make before, but I don't know, just got really odd kind of there in the middle. And he would be taking his place following the Blast Open in London. And that's where the problem lies. This roster in its current state has not been able to get another win. They've not been able to hold up to top caliber teams. And even if you look at their 2 wins during this post-major season, they weren't the most convincing. They've not looked like the dominant force they did in the first half of the year. They've honestly maybe not even looked like their top 5. Donk is absolutely a generational talent, but he can't do it all. And the other teams have figured out a strat that's not that complicated. If you shut down Donk, plot twist, you win the game. And if you have a player who's basically good for 2 kills every single round, but his team can't get the remaining 3, it's not a good sign. And to me, it's just unbelievable that you would have such a high-level, unbelievable talent surrounded by such mediocrity. Spirit could have easily assembled the best team in the world if they wanted to. They just sold a player for $2 million allegedly. And they're a couple changes away from greatness. But what they have now is looking shaky at best and like a 5-stack in Premier at worst. So where do we go from here? The Starlighter Budapest Major is right around the corner. And right now, Spirit's on a plane back home because they didn't make it to the playoff stage. I don't know if Spirit will even finish in the top 6 in their current form. That's how bad they look. Something has got to give. Players have to start performing, because if Spirit have another poor performance at the Major, who knows? They might lose that generational talent. A young man who's hungry to achieve all of his goals and dreams can't stay forever if they're not winning. And without Donk, this Spirit team would be a hollow shell, probably not even in the top 15 or 20. There is still hope. Donk, we know, is going to perform. Shiro is actually a really great opper. Chopper is more than capable of making great calls. The biggest question marks lie around Zwei and Tanir, who are young talents but still up and coming. They need to show they deserve to be on that Spirit roster and that they are capable of greatness. If all of these things can come together and Spirit can win the Major, I think they'll survive. The Vitality era, I think it's officially over. But now, who's going to take it? Spirit has a chance to step up and finish what they started in 2024, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Otherwise, I think we're going to be saying phase up Donk. This has been Rapid Recap. Hit that like button and subscribe for more Counter-Strike content. We'll have to see where this goes, and if Donk leaves, where do you want to see him?